future generations will never forgive us if we miss the opportunity to protect our common home. We have inherited a garden. We must not leave a desert for our children. Scientists have warned us that there might be only 1 decade left to restore the planet. We plead with the international community gathered at COP26 to take speedy, responsible, and shared action to safeguard, restore, and heal our wounded humanity and the home entrusted to our stewardship. We appeal to everyone to join us on this common journey.
Together with us, surrounding us this morning, are the thousands of people who depend on us and on those world leaders whose choices we wish to accompany with our words and faith, with the richness drawn from the depth of each of our traditions, strengthened by the evidence that comes from science. For them, particularly for the poor and the marginalized, who are the first and most helpless to be struck by the forces of nature, let us pause for a moment in prayer and silence as we commence this ceremony, to hold them in our hearts and minds as we remember the focus of the work that has brought us this far. Let us stand for a moment of silence. Ci alziamo per un momento di silenzio e di preghiera. Thank you. And now, as we begin this ceremony, I wish to offer the floor to His Eminence Cardinal Pietro Parolin, Secretary of State of His Holiness Pope Francis, for his words of welcome. Thank you, Your Eminence.
Santità, egregi capi e rappresentanti religiosi, eccellenze, cari amici, benvenuti in Vaticano. Ringrazio vivamente tutti voi per la disponibilità con cui avete accolto questo invito, venendo da lontano per distanze geografiche e da diverse origini storiche e spirituali. Ringrazio anche gli ambasciatori Pietro Sebastiani, Christopher John Trott e Sally Jane Atworthy per aver contribuito con grande impegno e dedizione ad organizzare questo evento. Ci troviamo qui riuniti perché siamo interpellati da numerose sollecitazioni circa il modo in cui stiamo interagendo all'interno della nostra casa comune, sia in rapporto con il creato, sia in rapporto con il nostro prossimo. Nel pensare al nostro prossimo ci riferiamo ovviamente non solo alle generazioni presenti, andando però oltre le barriere della geografia e dello spazio, ma anche a quelle future, che sono rappresentate in primis dai nostri giovani, dei quali sentiremo a breve un'importante testimonianza. Il mondo scientifico, sono qui presenti illustri rappresentanti, ha chiaramente denunciato la pericolosità della traiettoria del percorso che l'umanità sta intraprendendo. Sono oramai tanti gli avvenimenti e gli appelli che chiedono un urgente cambiamento di rotta di fronte a questi fallimenti che denotano una profonda crisi di valori. Tutti noi, rappresentanti religiosi, araldi della coscienza morale dell'umanità, abbiamo il compito di favorire questo cambiamento di rotta e far rifiorire i tanti deserti che si incontrano sul cammino dell'umanità. Grazie.
Thank you, Your Eminence. In these past few days, a number of young people have gathered in Milan to discuss their ambition for a different planet. As Youth for Climate, let us listen to the experience rising from these days to Federica Gasbarro, who will tell us their expectations for the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Ringrazio il Santo Padre, le autorità religiose e civili, gli scienziati, per l'opportunità di dare voce e ascoltare i giovani di tutto il mondo. Sono qui oggi a mostrare i risultati di Youth for Climate, un evento giovani inserito in COP26. Le priorità assolute dei giovani di tutto il mondo, rappresentati da 2 delegati per ogni Paese membro dello UNFCCC, sono 4. Sostegno economico ai Paesi vulnerabili, perché da soli non possono far fronte agli eventi catastrofici del riscaldamento globale e non sono in grado di avviare la transizione energetica perché semplicemente l'energia non ce l'hanno. Emissioni zero entro il 2030. Formazione scolastica relativa all'ambiente e al climate change. Fare in modo che questa occasione sia stata solo una di una serie di altre in cui i ragazzi possano partecipare attivamente al processo decisionale. Da queste priorità dipende anche e soprattutto una sola cosa: la pace e quindi il nostro futuro. Dall'evento di Youth for Climate, ognuno di noi ha portato a casa un'esperienza di vita che lo ha cambiato per sempre. Ognuno è arrivato con la propria cultura, la propria storia, che per alcuni aveva il sapore della trama di un film dell'orrore. È arrivato con le proprie tradizioni. Ragazzi indigeni, ragazzi del sud del mondo, ragazzi asiatici, in rappresentanza di 1 miliardo di bambini e altrettanti adulti che stanno attualmente soccombendo all'effetto devastante dei cambiamenti climatici. Emozioni forti, rabbia nell'ascoltare alcune realtà, la felicità di essersi conosciuti e poter fare la propria parte, la forza nel voler dimostrare di essere all'altezza della situazione. Ognuno di noi, tornando a casa, ha portato un pezzetto di cuore dell'altro. Siccità, cicloni, villaggi decimati. Possiamo ancora scrivere l'epilogo di questa storia e il nostro futuro non è affatto segnato, ma dobbiamo essere uniti e fare in modo che la nostra casa comune, la terra, possa ancora essere chiamata così, con questo nome, casa. La natura merita di essere protetta, perché se noi lo faremo con lei, allora anche lei lo farà con noi. L'ambiente non ha colori, non ha bandiere, è un linguaggio universale che ci unisce tutti. Non appartiene a nessuno, se non ad ognuno di noi. Grazie.
Grazie Federica. Thank you, Federica, for your words, for your witness, for your need of future that calls us all to action. With his encyclical letters Laudato Si and Fratelli Tutti, Pope Francis has offered a vision of integral humanity, where men and women are guided by faith and a roadmap to get there. Let us listen to his words and reflection. Thank you, Holy Father.
Capi e rappresentanti religiosi, eccellenze, cari fratelli e sorelle. Grazie a tutti per esservi qui radunati, mettendo in luce il desiderio di un dialogo approfondito tra di noi e con gli esperti di scienza. Mi permetto di offrire 3 concetti per riflettere su questa collaborazione: lo sguardo dell'interdipendenza e della condivisione, il motore dell'amore e la vocazione al rispetto. Voi avete la trascrizione di questo che io devo dire adesso e per non usare del tempo che è necessario perché tutti parlino, lascio nelle vostre mani la trascrizione, voi potete leggerla e così andiamo avanti in questa celebrazione. Grazie.
Thank you, Your Holiness, and we shall read your words. And thank you for accompanying us on this journey. The appeal, signed by the religious leaders, is now presented by the Holy Father to Alok Sharma, President of COP26, and to Luigi Di Maio, Italian Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, in representation of the Conference of the Parties and of the political leaders who will convene in November. I would now ask His Excellency Alok Sharma, Minister Di Maio, to take the floor.
Your Holiness, esteemed faith leaders, scientists, and minister, it is an honor to receive this appeal. And I look forward to hearing today from so many inspiring faith leaders from across the world. Frederica has spoken with great passion, and her energy and sense of urgency echoes so clearly the sentiment that I heard throughout the Youth for Climate event in Milan last week. The climate crisis we face is grave and of our making. It's a crisis built by human hands. And it is easy to feel overwhelmed by the sheer scale of the challenge, by the injustice of the situation where the poorest are suffering the most, having contributed the least to climate change. But today shows us how we can and will turn the tide. But doing so requires us all to play our part, every country and every part of society mounting a global effort led by those most human qualities, reason and morality, the head and the heart. Through science, we understand the damage that we're inflicting on our planet and its peoples. Through morality, we comprehend our responsibility to restore the planet and nature. The Hindu tradition into which I was born teaches that nature is divine and that we must promote the welfare of all living beings. Indeed, religions around the world contain similar teachings. So we need our youth to continue to call for change with the passion that we have heard today. We need the scientists with their academic authority to amplify further their voices in the public debate, and faith leaders to use their moral leadership to make the case for action. And this appeal does just that, with immense clarity and power. 40 faith leaders have come together and, working with scientists, have created a powerful call to action for the world. And I thank you sincerely for the months of hard work that have gone into this appeal, for the commitments that you have made to take action, and for the strength of your message to governments at COP26. Our priorities are shared. I too am committed to keeping the 1.5 degree limit alive, to following the science and driving action in vital areas like power and deforestation, and to delivering for developing nations, including vitally on finance, as justice requires. This appeal is a powerful call in support of those efforts, and I commit to working with you all to spread its message to ministers, to world leaders, and indeed all at COP in Glasgow, where the world will decide the future of our planet and its people. And I request you to do the same. Please spread the message of this appeal far and wide. As individuals and collectively, you have a very powerful set of voices. I'm very well aware of the scale and the gravity of the task ahead in Glasgow. The strength of purpose that I have witnessed here today gives me great hope for our collective future. So I thank all of you for your work, His Holiness and his team for hosting this gathering, and the Honourable Luigi Di Maio and Italy, our partners for COP26 and partners in this initiative. Thank you.
Santo Padre, Eminenze, Eccellenze, Reverendissime, caro Alok, eccellentissimi ospiti, Sono onorato di ricevere a nome del governo italiano l'appello firmato oggi da tutte le comunità religiose qui presenti. Questo appello offre un impulso inedito alla COP26, incoraggiando i governi ad un approccio ambizioso in vista di Glasgow. I leader religiosi hanno sempre avuto un ruolo fondamentale nel favorire l'assunzione di responsabilità da parte di ogni cittadino nel mondo, al di là della specifica appartenenza religiosa. E mai come in questo momento, su temi che ci riguardano tutti, come la sfida ambientale, il vostro contributo è cruciale. Lei stesso, Santità, nella lettera enciclica Laudato Si, ha evidenziato l'urgenza per tutti di proteggere la nostra casa comune. E sono fermamente convinto che coloro che più di tutti contribuiranno a proteggerla saranno i nostri giovani. È per questo che la presenza in questa sede dei giovani dello Youth for Climate, appena conclusosi a Milano, è tutt'altro che simbolica. Come ha evidenziato il Presidente del Consiglio Mario Draghi in questi giorni, la partecipazione dei giovani è essenziale quando parliamo del nostro futuro, del loro futuro. Ed è per questo che come Governo abbiamo fortemente voluto l'evento di Milano, così da permettere a ragazze e ragazzi di presentare le loro proposte ai grandi della terra che parteciperanno alla conferenza di Glasgow. Durante questo anno l'Italia è stata protagonista dei principali eventi multilaterali, ospitando il Global Health Summit, detenendo la presidenza del G20 e lavorando da co-partner di UK alla COP26. In questa prospettiva abbiamo deciso di porre al centro di tutti questi appuntamenti i giovani, nell'ambito della conferenza sul futuro dell'Europa con il Forum Unione Europea-Balcani, nel G20 di Trade di Sorrento, col G20 Innovation League, con lo Youth Forum che organizzeremo nell'ambito dei Med Dialogues a fine anno. E guardando al Mediterraneo e al nostro vicinato, che constatiamo come la diplomazia climatica sia legata strettamente all'obiettivo di assicurare, oltre ad uno sviluppo sostenibile, la pace e la sicurezza internazionali. In questo senso, la diplomazia climatica costituisce una direttrice cruciale della politica estera dell'Italia, soprattutto in un anno in cui esercitiamo importanti responsabilità a livello multilaterale. Il cambiamento climatico è un moltiplicatore di rischio, sempre più spesso causa di tensioni internazionali, conflitti e migrazioni forzate. La siccità, i vasti incendi di quest'estate, le difficoltà di approvvigionamento idrico in diversi paesi del Mediterraneo sono solo alcuni esempi dell'effetto destabilizzante del cambiamento climatico in una regione che si riscalda 20 volte più rapidamente rispetto alla media globale. Un pensiero particolare in questo senso va al Sahel. Per queste ragioni, l'azione dell'Italia nel Mediterraneo rivolge particolare attenzione al nesso clima e sicurezza. Accanto all'impegno costante per una soluzione politica nei teatri di crisi, promuoviamo un'agenda positiva di cooperazione sui beni comuni mediterranei come l'ambiente, l'acqua, l'energia. Come Presidenza G20 e partner del Regno Unito per la COP26, l'Italia è in prima linea per accelerare la transizione energetica verso la neutralità climatica entro il 2050. Consideriamo gli appuntamenti che stiamo ospitando durante questo anno tappe importanti nel percorso negoziale verso Glasgow e metteremo il massimo impegno affinché anche il vertice G20 dei capi di Stato e di Governo, che si terrà a Roma dal 30 al 31 ottobre, possa essere funzionale al successo della COP26, guardando ad obiettivi climatici più ambiziosi in un quadro rispettoso della dignità delle persone, del lavoro e degli equilibri sociali. La Just Transition alla quale i governanti sono chiamati a dare il loro contributo non è solo ambientale. Essa può e deve rappresentare un cambiamento epocale non solo con riferimento all'attestazione e all'attenzione per il creato, ma anche alla cura dei più deboli, dagli ultimi a coloro che la pandemia ha reso più fragili, ai nuovi poveri. Rinnovo perciò la mia gratitudine per il contributo assicurato dal vostro appello a questo percorso e per l'esempio di lungimiranza che in rappresentanza delle rispettive comunità di fede ci avete offerto. Questo messaggio assume un valore ancor più importante nel giorno in cui la Chiesa Cattolica celebra San Francesco, il cui nome lei, Santo Padre, ha scelto per sé all'inizio del suo pontificato, una figura che continua al di là delle convinzioni di ciascuno a ispirare la ricerca di un modello che coniughi sviluppo economico e sociale e salvaguardia del pianeta. Grazie e buon lavoro a tutti.
Thank you, President Sharma. Thank you, Minister Di Maio. And now the religious leaders will mark their personal commitment, as well as that of each tradition, with their words. Let us welcome Grand Imam Al-Tayyib of Al-Azhar University. Please, Excellency.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الإخوة الأعزاء، أخي قداسة البابا فرانسيس، تحية طيبة وبعد، فإن مداخلتي في هذا الموضوع البالغ الخطر تطمح إلى اختصار تصور الإسلام لمشكلة البيئة وتغير المناخ في دقيقتين أو ثلاث. هذا التصور يتأسس على ثلاث حقائق إيمانية. الحقيقة الأولى أن الإسلام لا ينظر إلى الوجود المادي الساكن نظرته لكائنات ميتة لا وعي لها ولا إدراك، بل على العكس ينظر إليها وإلى عوالم هذا الوجود من إنسان وحيوان ونبات وجماد بحسبانها موجودات حية تعبد الله وتسبحه في لغة لا يفقهها الإنسان. وإذا سلمنا بأنها كائنات تسبح فلا مفر من التسليم بأنها كائنات حية، إذ من البديهي أن الجسد الميت لا يتصور منه تسبيح ولا عبادة. الحقيقة الثانية أن قصة الخلق في القرآن كما هي في الكتاب المقدس السابق عليه تؤكد على أن أول إنسان نزل على الأرض نزل بوصفه خليفة عن الله فيها، استخلفه عليها بعدما أصلحها له وهيأها لمنفعته وخدمته في دقة مدهشة وحكمة وعناية بالغة، ولذلك حذره من الإفساد فيها بأي وجه من وجوه الإفساد. الحقيقة الثالثة أن الله كلف الأنبياء بأن يحذروا أقوامهم من الإفساد في الأرض بعد إصلاحها، وجاء في القرآن الكريم أن بعض الناس سيفسدون في هذه الأرض وسوف يذيقهم الله من المصائب في الأنفس والأموال والقوت جزاء ما عملوا لعلهم يرتدعون. ومن هذه الحقائق الثلاث يتبين في وضوح أن الله استأمن الإنسان على الأرض وأمره أن يتعامل مع سائر الكائنات معاملة الصديق للصديق. وأختم بنداء أوجهه لكل شاب مسلم يسمعني، بل لكل شاب يقظ الضمير أيا كانت عقيدته، أن يقف بالمرصاد في وجه أي نشاط يضر بالبيئة أو يفاقم من أزمة المناخ. هذا وأدعو إخوتي وزملائي علماء الأديان ورجالها أن يقوموا بواجبهم الديني في تحمل مسؤولياتهم كاملة تجاه هذه الأزمة. وأعتقد أنهم بما يتمتعون به من تأثير روحي في كافة الأوساط حتى عند صناع القرار وأصحاب المصانع والشركات يستطيعون أن ينشروا بين الناس الوعي الديني بأبعاد هذه الأزمة وبما يسهم في محاصرتها والتخفيف من أخطارها. شكرا لحسن استماعكم، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Let us now listen to the words of His Holiness Bartholomew, Ecumenical Patriarch of Constantinople. Thank you, Your Holiness.
Your Holiness, distinguished faith leaders and representatives, beloved brothers and sisters. The joint signing of a document like this, which constitutes a heartfelt appeal to political leaders meeting in Glasgow, is a powerful symbolical gesture, precisely because it is both the outcome of dialogue and a call to continue this dialogue. What kind of dialogue? The dialogue between all religions of the world, united in their commitment to preserving the beauty and integrity of God's creation. The dialogue between all believers and people of goodwill, sharing a common dream for the sake of our planet and its people, as well as for generations to come that deserve to inherit a better, cleaner, balanced world. The dialogue between faith and science as inseparable partners on the journey to respect one another's vital role in healing the wounds of our planet and reconciling the divisions of its people. And finally, the dialogue between creatures and our Creator, between secular and sacred, just as we Christians pray in the Lord's Prayer that God's will may be done on earth as it is in heaven. We need this dialogue in order to sustain the environment. We need this dialogue in order to coexist with one another as human beings and as part of God's sacred creation. And we need this dialogue in order simply to be, simply to breathe, simply to love one another. Thank you for being a part of this dialogue. We are certainly honored to be here among you. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Holiness, and let us now listen to the words of Rabbi Noam Marantz of the International Jewish Committee for Interreligious Consultations. Thank you.
Shalom. As the interreligious officer of American Jewish Committee, AJC, I am here representing IJKIC, the International Jewish Committee for Interreligious Consultations. Recognized by the Vatican, the Ecumenical Patriarchate, and the World Council of Churches as their dialogue partner with world Jewry. The Jewish people join this worldwide faith and science community in concern for the earth, entrusted to us by God, as it is written in the Torah, le'avda u'lishamra, to work it and to protect it. In the Talmud, saving one life is like saving the entire world. And if we can save our world, we can save many lives, all created B'Tselem Elohim, in the image of God. We are in this together, responsible one for the other. Like the prophets of old, we call upon our political leaders to step up, do what is necessary, and preserve our collective home.
Thank you, Rabbi Marantz. And let us listen to His Grace Justin Welby, Archbishop of Canterbury.
Your Holinesses, distinguished guests, and representative especially of Youth for Climate. In my 2 minutes, I will mention 3 things. Our declaration calls us to action. We need a pilgrimage to a clean economy which decreases carbon emissions and increases renewable energy development and use. We need a global financial architecture which repents of its past sins and is renewed to be the foundation of a green global economy. With that, there must be a dramatic and rapid change in taxation and trade rules that promote green activity. We need, thirdly, and most importantly, a genuine and justice-filled partnership with the global South, with the poor, not only to prevent harm, but together that we may be equipped as partners and drivers of environmental and climate protection. We have, in the last 100 years, declared war on the creation. And yet the Creator has given us one another as creatures naturally interdependent. Our abuse, our war against the climate affects the poorest among us. Reconciliation with creation in obedience to our Creator proclaims the love of God and opens each of us to friendship with one another. I have run out of time. The world has just enough time to get this right. Thank you.
Thank you, Archbishop Welby. And let us listen now to Reverend Shoten Minegishi, Director of the Soto Zen Buddhist European Office. Thank you, Reverend.
His Holiness and every leader gathering here. As a Buddhist, I am very conscious of the fact that everything is related to each other. So I'd like to appeal the world would change if we could make concrete efforts in our daily life. Involving in the exchange between the monks in Japan then and European Catholic, I know the attitude of taking great care of things practiced in both monasteries. It is necessary to shed light on the traditional simple life and its way of recycling. I dream our efforts let everyone aware that our challenge to climate crisis is one of the most important matters, and the richness of life is not same as of things. I hope to be changed our priority from the richness of things to of spirituality. This spirituality would bring us the wider common perspective on which we could live in harmony with all beings. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Minegishi. Now let us listen to His Eminence Metropolitan Hilarion, representing Patriarch Kirill of the Russian Orthodox Church. Thank you, Eminence.
Your Holinesses, esteemed participants of today's Religious Leaders Summit. The document, The Position of the Russian Orthodox Church on the Issues of Ecology, adopted by the Council of Bishops in 2013, states that our Church considers it its duty to promote in people belonging to different social, ethnic, cultural, age, and professional backgrounds a sense of shared responsibility for the safety of God's creation and to support their work in this direction. I am therefore happy to conclude the process of dialogue and discussion that preceded today's summit by signing its final appeal. May this appeal become a new beginning for our communities and for the whole world. We all need such a beginning, especially in terms of conversion of heart and repentance for all the damage to God's creation that has already been done. It shall be remembered that the current ecological situation has been caused, among other factors, by the desire of some to profit at the expense of others, as well as by the desire of unjust enrichment. I hope that today's meeting will contribute to a profound change of heart, repentance, and taking responsibility for the present and future of our global home. Let our work for the preservation of our beautiful planet, with God's help, be resolute and efficient. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Eminence. And now let us listen to Ayatollah Damad, head of the Islamic Studies Department at the Academy of Sciences in Tehran. Thank you.
In the name of God, Your Holiness, dear Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, the environmental catastrophe that we are facing today that has made life insufferable for many is essentially a moral and intellectual crisis. And faith leaders can play a pivotal role in tackling it. Humans have two different ways to view the world. For some, nature is there to be exploited by and for the benefit of humans. Some, however, have a divine view towards nature. For them, everything in the world, human beings, animals, mountains, and oceans, are the all parts of one existence, representing and manifesting the Creator. To them, nature is worthy of utmost respect. In their eyes, all human beings are indeed part of nature. In the Holy Quran, nature talks to God, to Allah, just like humans. And worship the nature, worship the sky, worship the seas, worship the jungles, worship everything and trees. It glorifies and exalts him. For the faithful, therefore, nature is the sacred, and the believers never transgress it. We also read in Holy Quran and other scriptures that in the beginning of God, at the beginning, God compelled humans to two things: to not murder each other and to be at the peace with the nature and to protect it. Today, unfortunately, humanity has broken this divine covenant, leading to killing innocent and destruction of nature. To this end, the mission of all the faithful in the world is to unite towards conveying this message and fulfilling this divine obligation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayatollah. And now let us listen to His Eminence Barnaba, representing Patriarch Tawadros II of the Coptic Orthodox Church. Thank you.
الكتاب المقدس يدعو المؤمنين إلى الاهتمام بخليقة الله. هناك 3 محاور رئيسية من التعليم الاجتماعي المسيحي تنطبق بطريقة معينة على اهتمام الكنيسة بالبيئة. أولاً، الاهتمام بالبيئة يدعو إلى احترام حياة الإنسان وكرامته، كما قال الكتاب المقدس: لا تنجسوا الأرض التي أنتم مقيمين فيها التي أنا ساكن في وسطها. ثانياً، مع تزايد الترابط بين العالم لدينا دعوة لتعزيز الصالح العام وفضيلة التضامن. ثالثاً، في الاهتمام بالبيئة نتحمل مسؤولية خاصة تجاه أخوتنا الفقراء والضعفاء وهم الأكثر تضرراً والأقل سماعاً في العالم. برنامج الأمم المتحدة في تعزيز القدرة على الصمود في مجال التكيف مع تغير المناخ وإعادة استصلاح الأراضي، كما يعني هذا أيضاً العمل مع الحكومات لضمان إدراج هذه المبادرات في النظم الوطنية، بما في ذلك آليات الإنذار المبكر والحماية الاجتماعية والآليات المالية أو التأمينية. إن مساعدة الشعوب والدول الأكثر عرضة لانعدام الأمن الغذائي للحد من تأثير تغير المناخ على الأمن الغذائي والتغذية، وذلك من خلال مبادرات مثل صندوق مواجهة تغيير المناخ لتعزيز الأمن الغذائي، ومبادرة القدرة على التكيف والصمود في المناطق الريفية، سيكون جزءاً لا يتجزأ من مساهمة برنامج الأغذية العالمي في تنفيذ اتفاق قمة المناخ في باريس 2015. شكراً لحسن انصاتكم.
Thank you, Your Eminence, and let us now listen to Dr. Rajwant Singh, founder and president of ECOSIC.
His Holiness and all the esteemed leaders from all faith communities, this is the most powerful platform that we have created for the world and for the leadership of this entire planet. We are sending a very strong signal. And in the words of Guru Nanak, the founder of the Sikh faith, who was a singer and a poet, because the message has to hit the heart, not the minds of the people, but we have to reach out to the hearts of every human being. And I would want to share the words that Guru Nanak sang. Pavan Guru Pani Pita Mata Tarat Mahat Divas Raat Doe Dai Daya Khile Sagal Jagat Mata Tarat Mahat. Guru Nanak says that the water is the father, the air is the teacher, and earth is our common mother. Just as we don't dishonor our mother, father, and teacher, why would we dishonor these gifts from our Creator? These climate crisis and the social justice crisis have brought this entire world to a brink. And I want to appeal to all the members of the Sikh community using this occasion that if we love Guru Nanak, if we love our own founder of our faith, then we must serve the entire planet and the entire humanity. And I also want to say that no one nation can just focus on its own and say that they will survive. If one nation sinks, we all sink. If one corporation thinks that they can profit alone, then we will all sink. And no one community can go forward without taking all of us together. So this is a message of love and compassion and justice that we need to send to the entire world. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Singh. Let us now listen to Reverend Martin Jung, General Secretary of the Lutheran World Federation.
Your Holiness, Your Graces, Eminences, Excellencies, distinguished faith leaders, sisters and brothers. This is God's world, entrusted to us to care for it. The Lutheran World Federation supports and wholeheartedly joins this call in this time and age. The statement sends a clear message. People of goodwill of every sector of society can join and can act and can do this together and now. Faith and science support each other to avert the climate crisis. Weeks from COP26, we are together in our call to the community of states. Ensure that emissions are substantially reduced. Protect and support the vulnerable. The Lutheran World Federation joins this call with our own pledges to equip our member churches with the spiritual and theological resources to inspire action, to deepen ecumenical and interfaith cooperation, to support communities affected by climate disasters, and to amplify and promote the voices of youth. Together, faith and science, people of different faith can transform fear in hope, anxiety in confidence, inaction into action. This is God's world, entrusted to us to care for it. We have to act now. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Jung. And now let us listen to Dr. Satish Kumar, Editor Emeritus of the Resurgence and Ecologist magazine from the Jainist tradition.
Thank you, Holy Father, brothers and sisters. I speak on behalf of the Jain community. In Jain tradition, our highest principle is non-violence. Non-violence to ourselves, non-violence to other people, and non-violence to nature. As doctors when they pass their degree from a university, take a Hippocratic oath. First, do no harm. That is principle of non-violence. I would like to see that oath, that Hippocratic oath, taken, everyone, whether you are a politician, an economist, a business leader, a farmer, whoever we are, we take that Hippocratic oath, especially when students leave their universities. We will do no harm. Then we have a complete freedom to act in the way we wish to act, as long as we do no harm. That principle of non-violence is the kernel of Jain teachings, which is common to all religions and science. Science without religion can create problems, can be dangerous. Religion without science can become dogmatic, narrow-minded. So religious leaders and religious faith followers need scientific mind, open mind, and the scientists need moral, spiritual, ethical principles together. So science and religion coming together and taking oath of doing no harm, Hippocratic oath, that is the message of Jain community. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kumar. Let us listen now to Reverend Christopher Ferguson from the World Communion of Reformed Churches.
Our beloved brother, Pope Francis, esteemed brothers and sisters, siblings all. In 2004, the family of Reformed Christians made a statement of faith saying, "We live in a scandalous world that denies God's call to life for all. We are challenged by the cries of the people who suffer and by the woundedness of creation itself. We see a dramatic convergence between the suffering of the people and the damage done to the rest of creation. And now, today, as people of faith in dialogue with science, we call on governments and corporations and all social actors to take urgent and radical action to overcome the climate emergency. There's also an ethical and spiritual imperative to address the root causes and not ever separate ecological justice from economic and social justice. Durable solutions require a different economic system, one that is centered on life and fosters life for all people and all of creation. Caring for creation requires economic transformation, driven by justice, centered on life. In the words from the Hebrew Bible in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30, now choose life so that you and your children may live. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend. And let us now listen to Reverend Takako Niwano, representing Reverend Kosho Niwano, President-designate of Risho Kozukei Kai Buddhism.
From long ago, religion, through its spiritual and intuitive insights, has continued to inform humanity that nature is a gift and that we're all one family in a common home in which all existence is in a state of interrelation and coexistence. However, now science is proving this empirically and illuminating from various angles the slight gaps in the intuitive truths. Religion and science are complementing each other, applying themselves to alleviate human suffering and make the world a better place. Religion has the power to go beyond merely receiving the latest knowledge as information, because it transforms that knowledge into people's lifestyles. In doing so, religion can empower people and change the world. Let's be a bridge among us. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Liwano. And let us listen now to Mrs. Gretchen Castle, General Secretary of the Friends World Committee for Consultation.
Thank you, Holy Father, and brothers, and most importantly, sisters who are present. Despite a bleak future for this earth, our faith gives us hope. We must come to be reconciled with our earth, our human family, and our God. Quakers, known for our work in peace and justice, are guided by a spiritual imperative to respect all life. God has entrusted us with the beauty and the miracle of creation, and as a human family, we have fallen short of caring for it. We must address our overconsumption and wasteful habits and learn to live in a collective, socially supportive world community, respectful of all life. We must address the unequal economic systems and the human impacts of climate change. The climate crisis affects us all, but not equally. The poorest who have done the least to cause the crisis are hardest hit. As wealthier nations, we have a responsibility to remember what Jesus said, "If you have done it to the least of these, you have done it unto me." Pope Francis's expression of interconnectedness and care for the common good have brought faith groups together. Thank you. His leadership matters. Our actions today and going forward matter. Now is the moment. And in the words of Jesus, let us go and sin no more. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Castle. Let us now listen to Professor Abdul Muti, representing Professor Nashir, Chair of Muhammadiyah.
His Holiness, eminent faith leaders, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Natural deterioration is viable due to the nature of the nature itself and human nurture. Continuous global damage on the nature has threatened the sustainability of creatures, whether humans, animals, and plants. It is the responsibility of all to save the nature for the future of life. In Islamic teaching, mankind is vicegerent or caliphate of God, who is responsible to make a prosperous and safe world. Human behavior to nature is distinguished to the quality of righteousness. True believers treat the nature at its best treatment. Conversely, the betrayal and apostates continuously destroy the nature as they are disobedient to God. Muhammadiyah is very concerned with natural destruction. As a progressive Islamic movement, Muhammadiyah is committed to do the best for the conservation of nature. In the 46th Muktamar or Assembly in 2015, Muhammadiyah took into account natural issue as one of priority program. In this regard, Muhammadiyah has 5 programs. First, publishing at least 2 books, namely Fiqh of Water and Fiqh of Environment. These books outline Islamic theology, law and responsibility on water and nature. Second, organizing local movement to save nature through so-called sodakoh sampah or waste donation. Third, educating people to be more sensitive, care and friendly and constructive to environment. Fourth, joining public advocacy for natural environmental conservation through legislation, especially those deal with mining, deforestation, and settlement, which in Indonesian context has become major causes of natural and environmental problems. Fifth, Muhammadiyah endorsed the exploration of alternative energy resources such as solar, wave, and wind to reduce and save fossil fuel energy consumption. Muhammadiyah has developed partnership with national and international organizations. This partnership, Muhammadiyah work, for example, with International Network of Engaged Buddhism, Ministry of Forest Environment, and other organizations. Muhammadiyah urges global responsibility, action, and cooperation to save and nurture the nature for the survival of the earth, prosperity, and sustainability of the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Let us listen now to Reverend Johan Sauka, Acting General Secretary of the World Council of Churches.
Your Holinesses, Eminences, Excellencies, distinguished faith leaders, I would like to start this short intervention by reassuring you all that the affirmation of one humanity and the value of human dignity within and with creation is at the heart of the search and aspirations of the fellowship of the 349 churches with more than 480 million people that constitute the World Council of Churches. We have an obligation to care for each other and for our common home, the earth, for which we are entrusted to be caretakers. Creation is not for some to consume and leave others behind. As people of faith, we have to be prophetic and tell the truth of the state we are in now. All people of goodwill need to bring together our voices and commit to an ecological conversion, a change of way of living together in our common oikos, common home. We see the urgency. We need a spirituality which implements the care for our common home. We hear the cry of the poor and the cry of the earth. There is no more time to wait. There is urgency to start now. Now is time to act and to start walking the way we are talking. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Reverend Sau. Let us listen now to Mushabab Saad Aiban, representing His Excellency Mohammed Alissa, Secretary General of the Muslim World League. Thank you.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. رابطة العالم الإسلامي ورسالة واضحة من معالي الشيخ الدكتور محمد بن عبد الكريم العيسى تبارك هذا التجمع الكريم من واقع رسالة إسلامية انطلق بها محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، ومصدقة للرسائل الإنسانية من كافة الرسل السابقين. فسيروا على بركة الله حفاظاً على بيتنا الكبير الكرة الأرضية، وعلى كل إنسان فرد مسؤولية تامة، نبدأها بالأفراد، بالأسر، بالمجتمعات، بالأقاليم، ثم بالدول. البداية متأخرة ليست نهاية، ليست نهاية الطريق، فلنبدأ من الآن. نسمع صوت الجوعى في كل مكان، إيقاف الحروب التي استنزفت الدماء وجعلت من الأرض أكثر حرارة من الصناعة ومن هدر الأموال وهدر الأنفس. إنها حرب معلنة على الكرة الأرضية وعلى حياتنا، فلا بد أن تتوقف. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Thank you. Let us now listen to Bishop Thomas Schirmacher, Secretary General of the World Evangelical Alliance.
I would like to start with a big thank you to two people who do not happen to sit by chance on the top of our meeting. I would start out with you, All Holiness, Bartholomew, who 30 years ago, 3 decades ago, opened the door telling that the future and the conservation of our planet, of our creation, is not only a problem of science, not only a problem of politics, but a problem of faith. And that opened a lot of doors, and I'm quite sure we would not sit here today as we are without this. And then I want to thank Your Holiness, Pope Francis, for Laudato Si 5 years ago. And we all know without this again, we would not sit here, because again, it opened the door that politics, okay, and we are calling on COP26, and we know they have to take the decisions as the states. Science, we want to listen, but it's more than science and politics and all. It's a direct matter of our faith. And now I would like to tell the COP26, the leaders, the states that are meeting there, I want to make this very clear. This is not a meeting that we have every day. And then we were looking for a topic and thought we could talk about climate change. This is unusual. We met for months because we care for the planet, for creation, and we met with the scientists and religious leaders and scientists. We are good friends, but we don't meet normally for months to discuss this. This is unusual, and I hope you understand that we urge you to go for this, and we have given example by investing time and energy over months, and now we only can hand it over to you. It's your turn now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bishop Schirmacher. And now let us listen to Rabbi Daniel Schwartz of Temple Hesed.
Today is a day of awe, wonder, hope, and dread that we will be too late. To avoid that, today must not be the conclusion, but rather should be seen as our opening move. We at the Coalition of the Environment and Jewish Life will join with all here to proclaim this good news from the mountaintop and minaret. But we will also need to involve the followers of all the world's diverse faith traditions and to figure out a path for millions of religious leaders and people of faith to add their names and hopes to our document and our cause. We must not only share our commitments to reduce carbon footprints, we must also inspire similar commitments by others. Finally, we need to commit our hearts, our souls, our very being to being witnesses of hope, unity, and love, calling our planet back from the brink and into a brighter, healthier, and more just future. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi Schwartz. Let us now listen to Bishop Abner Ferreira from the Assemblies of God, Madureira in Brazil. Obrigado.
Cumprimento Sua Santidade, Papa Francisco, meu irmão da República da Argentina, cumprimentando Sua Santidade, cumprimento todos os demais líderes que estão participando desse evento, sendo acolhidos aqui pelo Papa Francisco, e em nome das Assembleias de Deus do Brasil, Ministério de Madureira, nós estamos juntos nesse mesmo propósito. A tarefa principal da Igreja é anunciar as boas novas de salvação em Cristo Jesus. Mas isto não nos isenta de preocupar-se com a questão ecológica. Foi Deus quem responsabilizou o homem sobre esta tarefa. Gênesis capítulo 2 e o versículo 15 está escrito: Tomou, pois, o Senhor Deus o homem e o pôs no jardim do Éden para o lavrar e o guardar. O lavrar e o guardar. Trabalhar e proteger. Proteger e trabalhar. O cristão não deve violar os mandamentos de Deus quanto à preservação das espécies por causa do progresso. A preservação do meio ambiente não é responsabilidade apenas dos governantes. O zelo pelo local onde vivemos é tarefa de cada um de nós, pois é, antes de tudo, a nossa casa, o nosso patrimônio, o nosso bem maior, a nossa herança. O que podemos fazer para reduzir a poluição e os impactos ambientais? A preservação do meio ambiente está intrinsecamente ligada ao homem, ao que ele tem e ao que pode deixar de legado para as futuras gerações. Cuidado com o planeta Terra pode ser feito tanto no âmbito da coletividade quanto na individualidade. Hábitos simples podem gerar enormes mudanças. Uma mente renovada e sadia pensa com qualidade acerca do ambiente em que vive, em total harmonia com a natureza. Salmo 24, o versículo 1 e o versículo 2, disse o salmista: do Senhor é a terra e a sua plenitude, o mundo e todos aqueles que nele habitam. Porque ele afundou sobre os mares e afirmou sobre os rios. Que Deus abençoe a todos os que participam deste evento. E eu te encerro as minhas palavras lembrando uma palavra que meu querido papai, Bispo Primaz Manuel Ferreira, que tem 67 anos de sacerdócio. E nesse episódio da pandemia, eu conversando com ele e falando com ele: pai, qual é a sua visão sobre isso? O que está acontecendo? E o que a humanidade deve fazer? E ele disse: meu filho, acima da ciência, só Deus. Acima da ciência, só Deus. Acima da ciência, só Deus. Esta pandemia serviu para nos trazer uma reflexão, que nós só temos uma escapatória, é nos unirmos pelo bem comum, pela preservação do lugar onde Deus nos colocou para viver. Muito obrigado. Deus abençoe, excelência.
Thank you, Bishop Ferreira. Let us now listen to Ayatollah Al-Milani, Imam of the Koei Islamic Center, Dean of the International University of Islamic Studies, and Head of Islamic Law and Jurisprudence at Islamic College in London.
Your Holiness, faith leaders, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Allah tells us in the Quran, verse 61 from chapter 11, that it is Allah who brought you forth from the earth and put you in charge of its development and prosperity. Imam Ali stated that it is the responsibility of human beings to ensure that the environment remains unspoiled. He said, observe divine warning in relation to your dealings with others, for you will be held accountable for the way in which you have treated human beings, the land, and indeed every type of animal life. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him and his progeny, prohibited urinating in the lakes and rivers on the ground that it might have impact upon people's mental health. In order to arrive at appropriate conclusions in the process of ijtihad, Muslim jurists utilize principles that assist them in deducing laws from its sources, and the main such principle vis-a-vis protection of the environment is Islamic law does not occasion harm. The need to protect the environment from potential irreplaceable damage has resulted in Muslim jurists prohibiting felling forests of trees on the ground that such actions should result flooding and degradation of the land. Simply expressed, polluter pays acknowledges that those who produce pollution should bear the cost of its management to preclude damage to human health and natural environment. We conclude that human beings have been vested with the stewardship of the environment, and it is their duty to care for it in the most appropriate manner. While faith leaders play an important role in continuously reminding their communities of their obligations, it goes without saying that without the cooperation of the policymakers of each country, faith leaders will not be able to achieve a meaningful result. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayatollah Al-Milani. And let us listen now to Bishop Frederick Shu, President of the Lutheran Church in Tanzania.
Your Holiness, distinguished faith leaders, Honorable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment I've been longing for, the moment I've been praying for. For us, religious leaders, faith leaders, and scientists to come together, to discuss, to think, to speak about our common home. People have nicknamed me the Tree Bishop. I come from the Lutheran tradition. And Martin Luther once said, even if I knew I would die tomorrow, I would plant a tree today. For more than 20 years now, I have been planting trees on the slopes of Mount Kilimanjaro and mobilizing my community in Tanzania to do the same. It has become obligatory now for every child in our confirmation class to plant trees. We have and we are experiencing the effects of climate change. Scientists have informed and warned us. The youth have spoken and shown their concern, the concern for their future. They tell us climate change is going to be and is a threat to all of us. It's a threat to life. Let us listen to the scientists. Let us listen to the youth. And let us listen to what God the Creator is telling us. We have a moral responsibility, a moral obligation to do everything in our power to stop greenhouse gases emissions. And we have to do it now, before it is too late. Let us save our common home. Our common home is on fire, and we should not keep entertaining this fire. My plea to global government leaders, my urge to all of us is this: there are billions of planets in the universe. Out of these billions of planets, God the Creator chose the planet Earth to be our only physical home. Please, let's take good care of it. And let's do it now as an act of gratitude and service to God the Creator, as an act of love to ourselves and our neighbors, and as an inheritance to our grandchildren. Thank you.
Thank you, Bishop Shu. Thank you all for your words. Thank you for making this a day of listening and commitment. The appeal was written through a dialogue of science and faith. We have listened to the words of the religious leaders, Let us listen to the language of science, brought to us by Professor Joachim von Braun, President of the Pontifical Academy of Sciences, and to Professor Stefano Zamagni, President of the Pontifical Academy of Social Sciences. Thank you for being here with us and for walking this path together.
Thank you. Holy Father, religious leaders, youth leaders, Eminences, Excellencies, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, the degradation of our common home due to climate change is a symptom of deeper social ills. For this reason, it is essential that in addressing these challenges, science and faith combine forces. Science is broadly united since quite some time on the climate issue. Faith now is too. That is historical news. I would like to emphasize on 3 science-based sets of solutions that had been addressed in our faith and science dialogues preparing for COP26, together with my fellow scientists. Number 1, behavioral and consumption-based solutions. We need fundamental changes in our consumption behavior to achieve resilience and fairness. But how? Starting point is the promotion of ethics in consumption, including sufficiency approaches, no waste. The concept of enough needs promotion through incentives, tax, regulation among the global middle class and the rich. The flip side of adjustment of consumption is to share more. Commitments such as the $100 billion climate fund need to become reality. Children are agents of change. School curricula need to help children to understand complexity and interconnectedness of ecological challenges we are facing. The school children we had in the Pontifical Academy of Science a few years ago said, this is not enough. We are not just asking for education. We ask for the right to know, the right to know. Faith-based education systems can deliver on that right. Secondly, we need technological solutions, innovations, science breakthroughs for mitigation and for adaptation. Making people climate resilient now must take precedent. Nature-based solutions in farming can provide large CO2 mitigation until 2030. Farmers, including small farmers, are important partners in this endeavor. Third, we need health-related solutions. We need to apply a One Health concept, meaning health of people, health of planet, animals, plants, soil, natural health. The science of One Health must be central to policies that stabilize climate change as well as zero air pollution. We must give special attention to the world's poorest 3 billion people who suffer the most from air pollution. About 4 million lives per year are lost due to that. So, behavioral change, science and technology, One Health solutions. Faith and science need to address all of this together. We endorse a joint appeal. Children born today or having her first birthday, like one of my grandchildren called Amy, have a high probability that when they are 60, they live in a largely inhabitable world. That's what science predicts, the risks of an uninhabitable world in about half a century. That must not happen. We must move beyond appealing. The measures in our appeal must be enforced. Thank you.
Holy Father and very dear friends, the severity of the crisis and the very real possibility of a collapse of our globe's ecosystem This threat to the life of creation brings back to the forefront the oldest of all philosophical questions: how should we live? Much of the search for a prevention of environmental catastrophe has consisted of looking for technological means or enhancing regulation. But apart from few exceptions, an examination of the ethical foundations of any economic policy or any economic system has not been a meaningful part of economic research until recently. These technologically oriented programs rest on consequentialistic ethics, and consequentialism, as we know, is a mark of utilitarianism, and have not produced satisfactory results so far. The environment cannot be saved without a change in lifestyle, as we know from Laudato Si very well. And this cannot be achieved without an ethic concerned with the limit of material consumption. Unsustainable consumption, coupled with a record human population and the uses of inappropriate technologies, are causally linked with the destruction of the world's sustainability and resilience. Widening inequalities of wealth and income, the worldwide disruption of the physical climate system, and the loss of the millions of species that sustain life are the main manifestation of unsustainability. The most powerful obstacle on the way to a new climate regime is indeed the inability to imagine a different economic system, or even just a new balance between market and society, and between humanity and the environment. Considering change impossible is the best way to perpetuate the existing. The difficulty in setting up an effective response to climate change is linked to the difficulty of imagining another economic order, which is possible, which it is technically possible, in which the economy constitutes a function of society and not vice versa, and in which humans are aware of the effects caused by the counteraction of non-humans. This is the ultimate purpose of the work of the Pontifical Academy of Social Sciences. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor von Braun. Thank you, Professor Zamagni. Your words help bring science and faith closer, mutually enriching each other. And as we draw towards the end of this meeting, let us listen to the concluding remarks of His Excellency Archbishop Paul Richard Gallagher, the Holy See Secretary for Relations with States. Thank you, Excellency.
Holy Father, Eminences, Excellencies, Fratelli Tutti. So we have reached the conclusion of this morning's session. We have had an enriching exchange of perspectives and ideas, including the adoption of the joint appeal that we address to the entire international community. It is aimed at everyone, at every level. It is an appeal that clearly highlights the need for change, transformation, and conversion. It is a demanding challenge that requires broad and cohesive collaboration. Both scientists and religious leaders have demonstrated this here. It is also a unique moment of opportunity. At the end of this meeting, it seems appropriate to take up the concluding words of our joint appeal. We plead with the international community gathered at COP26 to take speedy, responsible, and shared action to safeguard, restore, and heal our wounded humanity and the home entrusted to our stewardship. We appeal to everyone on this planet to join us on this common journey. In an age fraught with division and despair, we look with hope and unity to the future. We seek to serve the people of the world, particularly the poor and the future generations, by encouraging a prophetic vision, a creative, respectful, and courageous action for the sake of the earth, our common home. Now, enjoy a little Roman tourism and good Italian food in preparation for this afternoon's session at the marvelous Palazzo Borromeo. Thank you all.
Thank you, Excellency. And as this encounter ends, each leader and scientist will mark his or her personal commitment for the protection of the environment by pouring soil upon the roots of a young olive tree, furthering its growth as it will be planted in the Vatican gardens. In the meanwhile, recorded videos will allow us to hear the words and see the faces of the religious leaders who could not join us here today physically due to the global health situation. To them, we convey our greetings with gratitude and affection. With this gesture, we part from each other in a spirit of fraternity and renewed friendship. Thank you to all of you. Part of the job that I like the least. Yeah.
I like the worst. I can see it. Journalists sitting there.
Sometimes the journalists a bit.
Really?
you
Your Holiness, beloved Pope Francis, Dear religious leaders and scientists, may you be well, may you be at peace. I am grateful for this opportunity to express my concern about and proposal on climate change. Nature follows the principle of coexistence in diversity and interdependence. Human beings and nature are originally one body of life. Only by respecting and embracing each other, by sharing in a spirit of universal love, can we live together and help one another. The heart of human beings has turned away from the purity and goodness of the Spirit, and there is no critical awareness of the fact that we live and die together with the earth. Through our greed, aggression, ignorance, arrogance, and doubt, we have exhausted the treasures of Mother Earth and subverted the ecological balance, causing climate change and destroying the wholesome organic system of the earth. The only way to solve the problem is to let those who are creating it awaken to the realization that the disaster is occurring right now, that no one can escape, that change has to happen immediately, that all plundering and conflict has to stop, and that we need to return to the oneness of earth and spirit so that we can live sustainably in harmony with the earth. I hope that all the religions can unite in helping their followers return to the Spirit, lead simple lives, actively protect the ecosystem, stop all wars, and use the resources instead of an education in spiritual ecology. I want to express my profound thanks to the Vatican, Italy, and Great Britain for organizing this conference to let the spirit of compassion and faith and science rebuild our beautiful home on earth together. Thank you so much, everyone.
Greetings from Sikh Holy City Amritsar to the August gathering in the Vatican. COVID pandemic has restricted normal life that we took for granted, but a bigger crisis awaits us if we do not act globally and together. While science has improved the quality of our life and provides us a peek into the mysteries of the universe, its unforeseen consequences have led to a crisis that now calls for global attention. Our common home, our planet, is under threat. The Sikhs see the earth as Dharamsal, a place for righteousness, the common sacred space bestowed with abundance of water, air, and a life-sustaining independent ecosystem for each of the creation. All these ecosystems are interconnected by divine order. The resources of a human family have been overutilized by the rich and powerful at the cost of poor and developing nations. Food, essential to humans, is not available easily to everyone. Many face hunger and poverty. On the other hand, food as a resource is one of the most lucrative and sustained form of income for big corporations. Agribusiness companies make profit, while small farmers find it difficult to survive. We need human-centric policies more than profit-making policies. The Sikh response would be one of sharing of resources and green technology in the spirit of seva, voluntary service with humility. The COVID-induced lockdown revitalized nature, and it suggests a way forward. Every year, a total planned worldwide lockdown in 2 phases, totaling a week, could give the earth and its constituents space to breathe, heal, and rejuvenate. It could also raise awareness and inspire each person to value nature's gifts. Thank you.
Distinguished religious leaders, outstanding experts and scholars, distinguished guests, I am Dr. Park Ming Kao, Executive Vice President of the Confucius Academy in Hong Kong. It is a great honor to participate in the Vatican Holy See. The British Embassy in the Holy See can be completed smoothly and successfully. Listening to the wisdom of religious virtues and scientific is rising, and the environment is deteriorating in the 21st century. We firmly believe that we will win this battle. Second, we believe in the common mission of religions is to prevent religious wars from appearing in human society. Third, we believe in the common mission of religions so that all religions can respect each other and live in harmony. This is ensured one of the necessary conditions for the successful operation of human peace and harmony in the world. Finally, thank you all and wish you all the best.
Excellencies, faith leaders, fellow pilgrims for climate justice, Nisam Bulavinaka, and greetings from the Pacific. I regret that I cannot be with you on this important occasion as I await my visa to be able to represent the faith communities of the Pacific at COP26 in Glasgow. It has been a privilege to work with you on this prophetic statement of faith and science and to witness the unity of vision and voice for our common home, the amplification of both the groaning of creation and the cry of the most vulnerable, resonating from the depths of our oceans to the mountains which kiss the sky. As a child and a servant of the community that serves as guardian of the blue lung of our planet, on behalf of the people and places of the Pacific, among those most at risk from the impacts of climate change, facing rising and warming seas, extreme weather, and displacement from disappearing islands, I thank you for this work. I urge us to not stop working, not stop praying, not stop calling for justice for creation, and use our collective energy, which in the Pacific we call mana, to bring about the global transformation that places biodiversity at the center of development, affirms spirituality, indigenous knowledge and praxis on living in harmony with the environment, and places the well-being of all ahead of profit for only a few. Let us pray not only for wisdom, but personal and political courage for those who must make and keep their commitments to achieve 1.5 degrees, net zero carbon emissions, and climate financing to assist the most vulnerable who are the least culpable. May God bless you all. Vinakavakalevu.
Here is a universal peace chant called the Shanti Mantra from the Vedas. I will chant the original in Sanskrit and give you a simple English translation. Om Jau Shanti Antarikshagum Shanti Prithvi Shanti Apashanti Oshadhaya Shanti Vanaspataya Shanti Vishvedeva Shanti Brahma Shanti Sarvam Shanti Shantireva Shanti Sama Shantiredhi Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May there be peace in the heavens. May there be peace in the interstellar region. May there be peace on the earth. May there be peace in the oceans and water bodies and rivers. May there be peace in the vegetation. May there be peace in the environment. May there be peace in all the forces of nature. May the Supreme Being be the source of all peace. May that peace envelop the whole universe and me and everybody. Om, peace, peace, peace. Sarve bhavantu sukhinaha, sarvesha santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kastyad dukkha bhag bhaved. May all beings on the earth be happy. May all the beings be peaceful. And may all see and act according to what is good and noble. And may no misery visit anybody. Om, peace, peace, peace.
Your Excellencies and eminent dignitaries, greetings from the Parsi, Irani, Zoroastrian faith community worldwide. Today we have gathered here for Faith and Science Conference COP26 to take a pledge on behalf of humanity at large to lead our life on this planet Earth in consonance with the divine laws of nature and undertake to preserve, protect and enrich all the creations of nature which are the bounties from our Master, the Lord Almighty. It is indeed due to the wisdom of faiths and the marvels of science that many international alliances, NGOs and corporations have chosen to come together to drive a positive change and put the planet before profits. The Zoroastrian religion advocates from nature to nature's God, We have a wonderful homage to the creations of nature in all the four directions of the planet Earth, which is summarized as under. I repent my sins, those committed here, and follow right path pure and clear. I bow unto Mother Earth for fruitful lands, also air and water on which life depends. I hail the culture and human civilization, also sun and moon with starry illumination. Salutation unto those who strove for mankind. My gratitude to Aura for his boons divine. Athajamiya Dathafinani. May it be so as I entreat. Thank you.
我係香港道教聯合會梁德華主席。
Part of the scripture of purity and stillness says, The great Tao has no shape, though it gave birth to heaven and earth. The great Tao has no affections, yet it moves the sun and the moon. The great Tao has no name, though it constantly supports the 10,000 things. Tao is considered to be the mother of the universe and the source of all things. Tao Te Ching says, Nature is unkind. It treats the creation like sacrificial straw dogs, and mentions the concept of harmonious coexistence between heaven, earth, and mankind. Mankind and nature are bound together in this community of common destiny. The book of poetry describes the beauty of nature that spring comes with splendid flowers, autumn shined in the bright moonlight, summer with fresh, delightful breezes, winter with white snow. Taoism appeals to everyone to respect our Mother Earth and stop environmental destruction if we love this beautiful planet. We need to be more efficient in the use of resources and reduced waste. At the same time, we must protect our environment from soil contamination and air pollution. We should also cherish water, trees, resources, and others together and build a sustainable future for Earth. Taoism has the concept of cherishing simple and plain honesty, and three treasures: compassion, frugality, and never to be the first in the word, humility. It means that people should embrace their original nature, discard selfishness and wanton desires. We bless everyone who can bear our collective and individual responsibility to protect the environment. We wish the world nourished by good winds and rain. At the end, I sincerely wish you all happiness and cheerfulness.
Climatic change has been of great concern at the global level for the last many decades, since it is affecting several species of plants, animals, and also human beings. There are two types of calamities facing the mankind: natural calamities and man-made calamities. Man-made calamities have led to the extinction of many rare species of plants and animals on this earth. I wonder whether the COVID-19 has come as a death blow to humans to curb their selfish activities and to revamp the nature. Man has exploited the resources of nature for his own luxuries and enjoyment. The father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi, once said, "There is enough in this world for man's need, but not enough for man's greed." The eyes to see this wonderful universe are on this earth only. The science has not yet found these eyes anywhere beyond this planet. If these invaluable eyes disappear from this planet, there will be no one to see this wonderful universe. Let us take a pledge to take care of the Mother Earth so that she can take care of us and our posterity, as envisaged in the following hymn of the ancient scripture of Yajurveda, chanted by the seers and sages of India from times immemorial. Peace be on this earth, peace be in the skies, peace be in the space, peace be in all directions, peace be in the air, peace be in the waters, peace be with the sun, moon, and stars, peace be with the plants and trees, peace be with animals and all living beings, peace be with me and deep in me.